Hi, everyone. This is Joe Burns, the Mind Op at the Mind on Purpose for another Tahoe Talk. And today, very excited to just bring some concepts that come up through the week. Um, yeah, just another amazing week with a lot of transformations with clients, and it always plays out in my own life as well. So just wanted to share a concept with you. So last week we talked about opening up space. And when you open up space for others and you open up space for yourself, resources flood to you. And, we also talked about how we do that with some tools. I want to use this great quote. I know Stephen Covey used this quote. It's really a biblical quote, and a lot of people have used it. But, seek first to understand and then be understood. Seek first to console and then to be consoled. And the idea is also giving that space, right? So I work with sales professionals, and oftentimes, especially new sales professionals, they'll get really excited about feature benefit. In other words, they're trying to promote, they're trying to, and really, instead of asking questions and really understanding. And I know that for a lot of you, sales is probably the last thing on your mind, and that's okay. But this concept of stepping back, giving space, and understanding somebody. So whether it's somebody that's I'm working with that is trying to get promoted within their career, or just rise within their career, or certainly within all of the relationship clients that I work with in terms of the relationships. And this is where these amazing breakthroughs have really been coming through, especially recently. So that idea of seeking to understand. So remember, we always talk about this concept of your survival self, right? Your kind of, primitive, hunter-gatherer brain that is always looking at threat assessment, always looking at survival, always looking at fight, flight, freeze. And we've talked also about subconscious programming and how, all the way up until we're into our teens, how much of these things are typically programmed before us. My next video is going to be on, this idea of what's within your purview, what's within your, what's your fault, what's not your fault, those types of things. I've got a really good one planned for that one. So stay tuned for the next Tahoe Talk. But let's step back. So this idea of the lower vibration, the survival self, and it's always there. It's our job, our critical mind. Its job is to take care of us. And once we start looking at that as a friend, like a bouncer that we've hired to protect, like the gatekeeper that we've hired, and we've kind of, as a kid, given it instructions of take care of us, watch this, don't let anything in you don't recognize, don't let anything in that's not on the list of our knowns, right? So again, if we're the hunter-gatherer, if we're the caveman, cavewoman, we're always walking to, the watering hole, and we're looking for things that we know that that one way are going to help us. So there's footprints that leading to the watering hole. That's good. We're on the right path. We're on the right path, right? That's a known. Oh my gosh, that spider over there, as I've talked about before, that tribe over there that we don't know, that's a threat. So we take this hunter-gatherer primitive brain into modern society with all these new things, with the relationships that you're in, with, this whole idea of being in a work environment, or, with coworkers, or a boss. And now everything is looking at those knowns from that threat assessment. When we get to this higher on purpose self that we're always talking about, always working on, that I'm always working on with myself, with my clients, with everybody, is we're no longer looking at things as threats, but we're looking at them as opportunities. We're looking at them as potential to grow, to get better at our relationships, to understand, right? To seek to understand instead of be understood. So instead of, it's the difference between being responsive and reactive. And remember, one of the big things that we always talked about this is in terms of questions. So for the sales guy, instead of the minute he gets an objection, well, I don't know if this is right for me. Instead of jumping right into, but it's the greatest vacuum on the planet, it's the greatest car you'll ever own, and trying to sell, saying, well, what does that mean? What does that mean? Let me understand what that is. So for the salesperson, it's stepping back from that ego, stepping back from that as a challenge to them and what their goal is. In a relationship, it's just so much even more important. So when somebody comes at you, coworker, wife, husband, partner, comes at you with something and they're in that low energy place, we want to understand. We want to step back, open that space as we've talked about before. And in doing that, the questions are great. So again, a really good salesperson asks questions instead of just selling stuff, because until you ask questions, you don't understand. You're not seeking to understand. So again, to take it out of the sales realm, if you're just simply in reactive mode, when somebody comes at you with something that's bothering them or something that's bothering them about you, maybe, it's very easy to get in that and feeling attacked and getting in that survival mode and getting that primitive hunter-gatherer mind going, that survival mind going, because it's the natural case for us to react and protect, right? To feel that fight, flight, freeze. So again, in primitive times, that fight, flight, freeze was generally because there was a real threat. Like there was an existential threat to your body. Now it's really an existential threat to this idea of your self-image, to this idea of who you are. And what we want to do is raise that idea of who you are. So when you are seeking first to understand, then rather than to sell somebody something, your own, your partner, your mate, your coworker, this idea you're trying to sell them, well, I'm this, I'm that, or be in that protective, reactive mode. When you are literally in this higher self, this on purpose self who asks those questions, and that first question is always so important, where you can just step back and say, is that true? Is that true, what they're saying? And again, that second question always is, does it serve me? And what are the infinite ways that that this could be true? And then what's the gift in this? What's the opportunity in this? What's the opportunity to meet this person where they're at? What's this opportunity to really understand what they're going through? Give them that space. Be your high vibration so that you're raising up their vibration. So you literally giving them a chance to be their higher self. And in doing that, your relationships get better. In controlling what you can control and being in that place where you're not reactive, you're responsive, where you're not seeking to automatically, please understand me, you've got to get me, you've got to. And, we call this, you've heard of it being called the law of attraction, right? And the law of vibration and those types of things. But it's really just about making you more attractive, isn't it? Right? When you seek to understand and you have this kind of way, this aura about you where you're really, really interested and you really want to understand another person, all of a sudden you get really attractive. And I know just in my own life, I know from my own situation, I can see it when I'm really there and opening space and I'm that higher me, it attracts things into my life. I'm not saying in a physical sense, I'm using this like I always do with my clients, it's just attractive. You are attractive. And when you're not, you're kind of icky and you're not so attractive. When you're needy and you're only seeking to make your point, you're only seeking to be understood and you're only locked in your own world, right? So here's the kind of cool dichotomy is first we control our inner world, right? But we don't get locked in our inner world. Then it's about how do we bring that into our relationships at work, with our lover, with our partner, with our husband, wife, with our kids, with our boss. How do we bring that higher idea of what you're working towards and all that inner work that you do, that my clients do? Then how do you bring that so you're bringing it to the world and then you get to be responsive? You seek to understand first. You seek to console first versus going straight for console me, make me feel better about me. How do you feel about me? Let's talk about me, right? I know that when I am in that place, not so attractive. So, and once I make that kind of joke and I talk about that with my clients, we pretty quickly see like, what do we want to be? We want to attract things into our life. We want to be attractive. And I'm not just talking about in a physical sense, of course. I'm really talking about on a vibrational sense. I'm really talking about like why people want to be around you. And when you seek first to understand, when you seek first to console, and when you seek first to really open up that space for them, you get better responses, which is also pretty good for you, right? That's a really good thing. So that's the thing I really wanted to give you today. Next one, like I said, is we're going to talk about this whole idea of, this victimhood. What's our fault? How do we start taking control of that? How do we gain agency I think is a good word. There's like kind of a newer buzzword, and like, how do we gain agency so you just don't feel in that victim mode in that lower sense? So that's going to be the next one. Can't wait. Listen, if you respond to this, what do they say? Just please like, subscribe, share this with somebody. Share this with somebody that you know it's going to really resonate with. And if you know somebody, or you are somebody that wants to really take your game to the next level, I am so excited. I'm going to be launching, you're going to see it online, I'm launching the new On Purpose program. I've been working on it. I am looking for 20 people to come in and really step it up. And I'm going to give them everything that I would do in a group program, but I'm going to be working one-on-one with them. So if that's something that you have an interest in, or you know somebody that have an interest in, just, drop me a direct message, or you can reach out to me at www.themindonpurpose.com. Again, my name is Joe Burns. I'm the Mind Up, and this has been your weekly Tahoe Talk. Have a great week.